We'll call to order the City of Douglasville's legislative work session, for today, February 3rd. February snuck up on me. February 3rd, 2022. Our invocation will be done by our own Aaron Sarowitz, Development Manager of the City of Douglasville, and then the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem. Please stand for the invocation.
Good evening. Let's bow our heads. Loving Heavenly Father, we acknowledge your holy presence today. We thank you for being our infinite source of peace, love, and wisdom. We know that your Holy Spirit guides and directs us. Your love enfolds and illuminates us. Let that light of your divine wisdom direct the deliberations of this council so that they may tend to the preservation of peace, the promotion of happiness, and may perpetuate to us the blessing of equal liberty. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us in the pledge, and Mr. Sarowitz for that beautiful invocation. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Douglasville City Council legislative work session. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm Mayor of the City of Douglasville, and we are excited to have you here this evening. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion only, and no official action will be taken until next Monday at 6 p.m. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates for you to make your comments. Just a few protocol issues I'd like to go over with everyone, and then we can begin the meeting. I ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. And if you deviate from that requirement, we will have you discontinue speaking. We'll turn your microphone off. Only one person speaking at a time, please. Please do not applaud or react to speakers or speak to each other in the audience when you're standing at the podium, or carry on a conversation to be disruptive. I remind you that we're only required to accept public comments during required public hearings. If you have a cell phone, I ask that you please put those in silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting so they will not disturb the meeting this evening. And this is how the agenda items will be held. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item, then that person or persons will come forward, present their information. The applicant, after he's completed doing that, then the committee chairperson will ask for comments or questions from myself and council members. After that, the committee chairperson will ask for comments or statements from the audience, and there are 20 minutes for those in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak. Prior to approaching the podium, please give your card to the city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, in the rear, and just so that we'll have your information, your name and address. And when you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and then you can proceed with speaking for 5 minutes. This is not a question and answer format or debate. We're just here to receive the information, deliberate, and make our decision on next Monday. If you have printed material, please hand that to Ms. Vicki, our city clerk, and she will make copies and distribute to everyone. So those are all of the instructions, and we can begin the meeting now. There are copies outside on the desk, or you can follow along on the screen. Now, our first committee is Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, sir. Finance Committee, that is chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have 2 items tonight under Finance. Item A, authorize the mayor to sign Amendment 1 to the city's standard agreement between owner and program managers dated November 4th, 2019 with Comprehensive Program Services Incorporated, CPS, for project management services for the city's downtown amphitheater and town green project. Mr. Marcus Thompson is here with us to update us on that.
Right,
Mr. Thompson.
Marcus Thompson, City Engineer, 6701 Church Street. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so initially, CPS contract amount was $223,000 based on 3.5% of the project's construction, furniture, fixtures, and equipment costs. At that time, the estimated construction cost was around $6.4 million. Now, after fine-tuning the design, the construction cost today is roughly around, let's see, $12.6 million. So, yeah, so that results in basically CPS cost increasing. So this is basically a reflection of CPS cost increase, basically, to provide program management services for us.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Questions, comments of council? Madam Mayor?
That's a big jump. Is it materials or that's just what it is? City
We
manager?
don't really know where it will be when we get started, but that's what we're having to estimate at this time. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
the 6 million was your original estimate almost 4 years ago when we
Okay, I
started this out, so we've
based
never
on
changed their
concepts,
contract
yeah.
since then.
Okay, that makes sense.
So maybe a question would be, have we changed this, have we changed what we're wanting to do there drastically to have any part of of that cost increase included? Or is it basically just the times we're living in as far as construction costs?
I would say it's a combination of both, Councilman Adams. If you recall, when we started this out, the bridge was not included.
Correct.
It was really just the town green. So as you all develop the project, the scope increased, and then you also add in the cost of goods. So I think it's a combination of both.
So the combination of the scope of work we want done and the cost of construction compared to 3-4 years ago.
Makes sense.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I would hesitate to use the word fine-tune. Doubling is not fine-tuning, but yeah, I agree with the city manager. Was the amphitheater was always part of the scope, though, correct?
Yeah, the amphitheater was always a part of the scope. As you all can recall, the seating, the sound system,
That changed,
the
yes.
signage,
Acoustics.
there are tons of things that changed that went from original concept to now as we are final design, getting ready to construct.
I'm seeing clients struggling with the same thing, especially with steel prices right now, are out of this world. And it's not even just the prices, it's finding steel.
Right.
Bar joists in particular, I don't think we're going to be having much in the way of bar joists on this project, but I know that's something, an example,
Oh, wow.
things that are just simply not available for 6 to 8 months out. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Marcus, we appreciate that.
Yes, others?
Mr.
Yes, Coach Watts.
Thank you, Councilman Adams. What are the chances of it jumping again?
I would say they're very likely.
Everything is pretty set in stone, I would say. The only thing I can see increasing the cost is like if we run into like an unforeseen condition on site. Say for instance, if we run into like some type of rock or something that we have to, excavate out, or anything construction related unforeseen will increase the cost. But right now it's pretty solid.
Okay, thank you.
Others? Thank you, Mr. Thompson. We'll take this up on Monday then for a vote. Thank you so much. We'll go on to item B, and Mr. Thompson also will handle that for us. Authorize the mayor to sign change order number 1 with R. Henry Incorporated for the increase in the cost of materials for the Gateway Sign Project.
All right, so good news. We finally got our sign permit approved from GDOT, so that's great news. So we can, get the ball rolling on that project. So with that being said, this price, this proposal reflects the price includes the material escalation from November of 2019 till now, January of 22. So this basically reflects the cost of.
Another example of the same situation?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A quick question on that is, how far out are we now from seeing that construction beginning and completion for the sign work?
So right now, we actually have a site meeting on the 10th of February. Our completion date, our tentative completion date now is, I'll say it's in August, early August. I don't want to give you the wrong date, but it's sometime in August, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Others? Yes, Madam Mayor?
That was going to be my question. I just want to say I'm excited about the gateway signs. That's all.
All right. If there's nothing else in, Mr. Thompson, we appreciate your input. We'll take that up on Monday. Madam Mayor, that's all we have under finance tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is Housing and Community Affairs Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight under Housing and Community Affairs.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, I have one item, and I'm going to start with the item A, adopt an ordinance to amend the charter of the City of Douglasville to revise its corporate limits and ward map based on the 2020 U.S. decennial census. Second enactment. Ms. Woodward, please.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. This item is a second enactment, as Councilman Davis just stated. For the citizens that weren't here the last time this was enacted, since the 2020 census has been released and we've discovered that Douglasville has been growing, and so we currently have about 34,950 people residing in the city, and in order to maintain the constitutional principle of one person, one vote, we generally need to redraw each ward's boundaries so that each ward is roughly the same size, and for super ward, it's of course twice the number of the ideal population, which is close to 5,000 people for wards with only one representative, and hence around 10,000 people for super wards. Keeping that in mind, we are also constrained by the boundaries of census tracts and blocks because there's no way to estimate how many people actually live within a partial census tract or census block. We are also, the way we drew the maps, we kept in mind that we wanted to make sure that neighborhoods and subdivisions can stay together and avoid a situation where one neighborhood is in one ward and half a neighborhood is in one ward and the other half is in another ward. We're also considering the history of the ward and keeping the community interest intact. So with these considerations in mind, we have proposed to draw from Ward 3, we are proposing to draw the Rock Hill Gardens subdivision into Ward 2, as well as the west of South Flat Rock Road. So essentially, we're trying to redraw by giving the neighborhoods that book in Ward 3 to Ward 2. And to further balance the population in Ward 2, staff has proposed to draw west of Concourse Parkway into Ward 2. Part of this was originally in Ward 1 and consists of commercial parcels and residential areas in the Gurley Road, Bright Start Connector, and Highway 5 triangle, if you will. In that triangle, there's 2 apartment complexes, I believe. Additionally, city staff has proposed to draw the Slater Mills subdivision and a few parcels ending at Little Anawakey Creek from Ward 2 into Ward 1. To balance the population in Ward 1 and Ward 4, city staff has proposed to draw the area between Timber Ridge Drive and north of Presley Mill Road and west of Little Anawakey Creek from Ward 4 to Ward 1, and this area includes, to give you all an idea of what it includes, it's Georgia Technical College, the Brighton Academy, First Baptist Church, and an undeveloped strip along Timber Ridge Road, Kensington Gardens, Timber Ridge Estates, Presley Park Subdivision, Presley Place. And last but not least, to balance the population in Ward 5, city staff has proposed to draw the apartment complex Villas at West Ridge into Ward 5 from Ward 2. We have confirmed with the legislative office that the way the proposed ward boundary is drawn, the apartment complex will be partially in Ward 5 and partially in Ward 2. But this is the best solution that staff could come up with, given the constraints that I previously stated. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Ward. Mayor and council, Councilman Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Woodward, you've mentioned Ward 2 several times in that statement, and so I'm not sure I'll cover all of my questions, but hopefully it's been rectified. The Rock Hill Garden subdivision, I believe, borders both sides of Ellis Street. Is that correct? Is that one of the items that you were speaking of, Rock Hill Gardens?
Yes.
And Ward 2, as I understood it, was going to go down Ellis Street on the eastern side only. Are you saying now that that entire neighborhood would be included in Ward 2 or just the east side of Ellis Street?
It would be the east side of Ellis Street.
So in your statement, you mentioned that you want to keep the neighborhoods together and you don't want the streets to be split that way, and yet that's how we have that set up.
Because we are constrained by the boundaries of census tracts and blocks, that is just how the Census Bureau had calculated population, and we're only able to include part of that subdivision into that particular census block. We were not able to draw the entire subdivision of Rock Hill Garden because that would greatly increase the population in Ward 2 and further contribute to the imbalance.
Well, I know that in times past, in the last few years, I know that Mr. Mayor Pro Tem has had the same basic problem with Arbor Station. And I believe that it was in some way worked out to where that entire neighborhood became in his ward, whereas it was split. You've also mentioned that Ward 2 would have a development of a apartment complex, and I don't recall exactly where that is, where half of that apartment complex would be in Ward 2 and half would be in another ward. Again, is that?
Right there.
And that's what we have to do to make the numbers work in the census tract to be satisfied. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I just feel like we're creating a very confusing issue, and I know who will receive the phone calls. So just wanted to make that comment. Pardon?
Slater Mill as well? Was Slater Mill?
I believe they have corrected Slater Mill by placing all of it in one ward. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay.
think
Just
they
wanted to ask that question. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Madam Mayor?
I'm still letting it soak in.
Okay. All right, we will put this back on the agenda for Monday for a vote. Thank you, that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. We'll move on to the next committee, which is Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
We have one
welcome.
item tonight, adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's personnel policies and procedures to provide for the steps that employees must take to report lost or stolen city equipment. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Good afternoon, Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street. Before you attach, you'll find the ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's personnel policies and procedures to provide for a new section that addresses the procedures for employees to report lost or stolen equipment. As you all know, a little less than 2 years ago, we went through a cybersecurity assessment. This is one of the items that were found that we were lacking, so therefore staff did the research, and now we will be implementing an amendment to the section 17-17 to provide procedures for employees to take.
So, Ms. Jackson, this is just a housekeeping item?
Yes, sir.
So it's not something that's been a problem?
That's correct. It's not something that's been a problem, but we want to be proactive instead of reactive.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Any other council members? Councilwoman Danley, I can't hardly see you over there, so you have to raise your hand and wave at me.
I'm good, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Anybody else? All right, if it would be okay with council, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all I have. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Jackson. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Tonight, under Planning and Development, we have one item.
That's a miracle.
Item A, consider a request for revised plat approval for the purpose of subdividing into 4 lots, 171.556 acres at North River Road. Land lots 165, 172, 173, 174, 997, 998, and 1024. Districts 1 and 18, sections 2 and 5, parcel 12, parcel ID 017301500012. Application by Urban Engineers Incorporated. Mr. Ryan Anderson is going to help us with that. How are you, sir?
All right, how you doing? How y'all doing? Ryan Anderson, 6701 Church Street. The subject property was originally part of a city-initiated rezoning of 9 properties that were previously zoned PUD, and it was rezoned from planned unit development to LI in January of 2020. The proposed subdividing of this land would create 4 lots. Lot 1 equals 55 acres. Lot 2 will be 45 acres. Lot 3 will be 36 acres, and Lot 4 will be over 35 acres. City staff has reviewed the application and the attachments and has determined that the proposed plat meets the revised final plat requirements of the UDO.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I heard that last statement in that all is well as far as the requirements for the final plat to be approved per staff, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll open the floor for any questions or comments. Anyone? Okay. Seeing that there are no questions or comments concerning it, and the representative of that ward is with us, if it pleases the council, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda. Would that be appropriate?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Anderson, that's all that we need. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all we have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Anderson. Thank you for allowing me to feature you in Chapel Hill's News and Views. I know you're modest. You don't like the spotlight, so but thank you for that. Okay, we'll move on then to the next committee, which is Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller. I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem to take that committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's no business up tonight under the Public Improvement and Beautification Committee.
Thank you, sir. Public Relations Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There
You're
is
welcome.
also no business in the Public Relations Committee this evening.
Thank you so much, sir. Public Safety Committee, chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, look, I got a couple of them tonight.
Okay.
Item A, hold a public hearing to consider a request for a change in agent outlet manager for the alcoholic beverage license for the on-premises sale and consumption of wine and malt beverage at the Spirit Liquor at the following establishment: current license Barbecue West LLC, DBA Williams Barbecue, location 7040 Concord Parkway. Current agent outlet manager Laura Lambert. Proposed agent outlet manager Sawyer Williamson. And the required fees have been paid into the finance department. And is the applicant here? Please come on down, sir. And state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Sawyer Williamson, and our address is 7040 Concourse Parkway in Douglasville, Georgia, 30134.
Yes, thank you. Number one, you are been there a long time. And how do you go about training your employees alcohol service?
They take a mandatory test that's actually offered by Douglas County at a courthouse, I think off of Fairburn Road. And they all hold that permit. It lasts for 1 year. It's a card that's issued to them like a license. So every one of our staff has that on hand at all times.
And each new employee be sent through the training, right?
Correct, yeah. None of them can touch alcohol, wine, or beer. We don't have liquor, but wine or beer until they get that card. And it's always completed before they have the servers, before they work their first shift on their own.
Check IDs no matter whether they look like me or not.
Yes, we do. We check the ID no matter what.
Sometimes they can trick you. Okay, Mayor and Council.
I know some Williamson Brothers. Where's some barbecue chicken or something?
I got ribs half a mile away.
Okay.
We'd have it here.
That's all. No, sir, I don't have anything.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So You just said that y'all do not presently sell spirituous liquors.
Yeah, we've considered it before. We may consider it again, but we're just not going to do it this year. We're trying to focus on the food this year.
Okay. All right, so right now, it's mainly beer and wine, or you're?
Yeah, only beer and wine. Yeah, we do just glass bottled beer, cold, ice cold, and then wine as well.
Okay. I mean, I've eaten in there before. I just haven't noticed. So
I haven't noticed it. Is it in the can or come in the cups?
We only do it in the glass bottle with the frosted mug.
Oh, okay.
Where
Councilman
it's more of a
Davis.
family restaurant, so we're not really focused on alcohol,
You
but
over the
it's,
top.
some people got to have it in order to eat, so you just do it as a convenience for them.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, right now we go hold a public hearing. Open up the floor for those who speak for your application. We give them 5 minutes, and 5 minutes for those who speak against. Right now, we open up the floor for those who speak for your application. Since I've seen no takers, 5 minutes for those who speak against. I see no takers. We're closing the public hearing. Come back on Monday, and we'll give you, that's okay?
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
sir. Item B, hold a public hearing to consider request for alcoholic beverage license for the on-premises sale, consumption of wine and malt beverage and spirit liquor at the following establishment. Proposed licensing, Red Velvet Bistro LLC, DBA Red Velvet Bistro LLC, location 12377 Veteran Memorial Highway. Proposed agent outlet manager, Daisha Pips, I hope I pronounced that right. And the required fees have been paid into the finance department. Daisha Pips, please come. Oh, there you are, okay. State your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, Deja Phelps and 7209 Bridgerton Rose, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134.
And who's the young lady you have with you? The young lady that's with you?
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
That's her mommy.
Your coach?
Oh. This is my mother.
Okay, good. I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked the other applicant. And how are you gonna go about training your staff on this liquor and alcohol?
So as bar manager, of course, we will ensure that all of our employees get the certification at the courthouse, the bartending license, and as well as that, we've incorporated the Serve Safe certification into our training program.
And like I said, it can look like me, we still have to check the ID.
Oh yeah, we will be checking every single ID.
Check mine, right?
Yes, and ensuring that everyone that sits at the bar is over the age of 21 before they even sit down.
Very good. Okay, Mayor and Council. Madam Mayor?
Thank you. I don't have a question, just a comment. Thank you so much for your family continuing to invest in the community. This is your third generation, I see now, third generation of business investors. And you also own the Grits Bar, Mom. And so we're happy that you've helped to come into a new facility and fill that building that was empty. So we wish you the best, and I'm sure it'll be great. And Councilman Adams will be very glad to hear that you graduated from UGA. Like it.
Definitely, yes. I didn't realize that. Congratulations. Go Dogs.
And thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, anyone else? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations for getting the space and taking it over and bringing some additional life into our downtown. Very proud of that balcony out there, by the way. That's my balcony you're using, so use it well.
Wait a minute, Terry. You're not throwing out a sale pitch, are you?
No, I just think I designed that balcony, that's all.
Oh, okay.
It's my legacy.
Okay.
No, it's exciting to have you in downtown. You're gonna add a lot of life to the community, and I think everybody here wishes you well, so.
Anyone else? At this time, we have to open up. We got to open up a public hearing. So I hope you've been good to everybody. Right now, we open up public hearing, 5 minutes for those who speak for the applicant, and 5 minutes for those who speak against the applicant. At this time, we'll take 5 minutes for those who speak for the applicant. Okay, I see no takers. 5 minutes to speak against this applicant. So, Madam Mayor, I see no takers, so we'll close the public hearing, and you all can come back on Monday, and we'll give you a. Now, don't open up for Monday now. Don't say up for Monday. Okay, thank y'all.
I spoke open it tomorrow, but we're gonna have alcohol until the proper time.
Okay, good, thank you. Y'all come back on Monday.
Lemonade tomorrow.
Sweet tea.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
all. You're
All
welcome.
right.
Good to see you.
Okay, moving right along, Madam Mayor. Item C, consider an application for open container day permit on Friday, February 25th. Wow, that's, my birthday is on the 28th. 2022 in downtown Douglasville, submitted by Emily Hardaway, City of Douglasville. Aaron?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Aaron Sarowitz, 6701 Church Street. Before you today is an application to enact the entertainment district for the city's birthday celebration on Friday, February 25th. The celebration will last from 5 to 8 p.m., but we hope that the entertainment district will allow for folks to stay for a little bit longer and enjoy the festivities as part of the birthday celebration. Some other festivities that will be happening during the celebration will be City Hall tours. Of course, if the entertainment district is enacted, they won't be able to, it's not enacted in city buildings, so I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
Yes, so nobody will carry it indoors. There'll be some food provided by Proof of the Pudding, photo booth outside, raffles, prizes, and some cupcake decorating for everyone to enjoy.
And this is put on by the Miss Emily Leiter of the Cultural Arts?
That is, no, Emily Hardaway is the applicant, so she is heading up the event.
She's one of our staff members?
She is, yes, community outreach coordinator.
Yeah, we got so many new ones, it's hard to.
Lots of Emily's too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. And so we're timed from what, 5 to, what's the hours again?
The event goes from 5 to 8, but the
So we
entertainment
can
district will be enacted kind of all the
Okay,
way through
we'll stay a little
the whole
longer.
evening.
We'll stay a little longer,
That's
10
correct.
o'clock.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Mayor and Council? Okay, I'd like to put this on the consent agenda for Monday if the, yes. Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
Aaron. And that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to item number 14, which is Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have 2 items tonight. Item A, authorize the mayor to sign the 2022 loan agreement between the National Museum of the United States Air Force and the City of Douglasville for the period of April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2024 for display of the F-105D aircraft at the city's Airplane Memorial in Hunter Park. And Ms. Hampton will handle this.
Yes, sir. This is your annual agreement that's between yourself, as it's stated in the wording, and the National Museum for the airplane that's at Hunter Park. You will notice the only change is that rather than 1 year, they're allowing us to have the agreement extended for 2.
Well, thank you. So every 2 years now. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Nope. Anybody? All right. Thank you, Ms. Hampton, and I would like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday. Item B, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Georgia Recreation and Park Association, Inc. to participate in its Boost program, under which the city's Parks and Recreation Department would receive funding and provide comprehensive out-of-school time services to K through 12 students. And the esteemed Chris Bass will handle it from here.
Thanks, sir. Chris Bass, 8830 Gurley Road. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members
Good
of
evening.
council. We are seeking approval to receive a grant from the Georgia Recreation and Parks Association in the amount of $53,000. This is a non-matching grant that will allow us to provide after-school programs related to STEM, any type of enrichment and educational programs for youth at the Jesse Davis Park location and the Hunter Park location. This grant will allow for 100% free for families who are in need of this program. We plan to partner with the school district to identify kids who may be struggling, specifically due to the learning loss caused by COVID-19. And this program will continue through 12 weeks, starting March 7th through June 3rd. So the funds will be utilized to help staff the program and also bring in some contractors who specialize in certain areas of STEM and any types of enrichment areas.
Mr. Bass, approximately how many students will this grant serve, do you think?
Yes, sir. So right now we have it set up for 30 kids, 30 participants in the program. We'll go ahead and tell you we will plan to come back again for a summer program that will allow us to expand those operations. So we'll be able to serve more during the summertime.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor, do you have any questions or comments?
Just a comment. I'm excited to hear about this program and that we don't have to match, and that it's a grant. And also, it really keeps on the tradition and the legacy for Mr. Goree. We had a Goree building at Jesse Davis Park that was kind of a learning center, and they had computers and all of that in there. So this is exciting that Hunter and Jesse Davis Park were just happy to be able to partner with the school system and help our young people.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, Councilman Estes.
Just to clarify, I'm looking at this agreement, the MOU, and it's dated 2021. What's the time frame for this?
So the grant funds were actually awarded from the federal government to the Georgia Recreation and Parks Association on a FY21 calendar year. So that's why I stated FY21.
So it's just however long?
Yes, sir.
That
Correct.
money?
Yes, sir. But yes, sir. Our program will be 12 weeks, though. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I just would like to commend Mr. Bass and his leadership in the recreation employees that have to jump through all the hoops to get these types of grants to serve the community. Appreciate y'all's efforts on that. If no one else has anything, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday. Thank you, Mr. Bass, and Madam Mayor, that's all I had tonight under Parks, Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thanks so much, Coach, and thanks, Director Bass. We'll move on then to Technology Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Technology Committee at this time.
Thank you, sir. Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShun Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
You're
one
welcome.
item. Authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Lumen 8 Transportation Technologies, LLC, to conduct a speed and safety traffic study on the Creekwood Drive area and evaluate whether a change in speed limit is warranted. Mr. Thompson.
All right, Marcus Thompson, 6701 Church Street. So staff wanted to bring this item to you guys tonight to basically get a final decision on whether we should proceed with the traffic study for Creekwood Drive. I know there was some concerns that this could possibly create like a domino effect with residents requesting traffic studies for their communities. So we just wanted, while staff is currently drafting a transportation policy, just wanted to see whether or not to proceed or not on this item.
Do we have any questions or comments from our mayor and council? Okay. We have discussed this for quite some time. If there aren't any questions or comments, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda and move forward. Okay. Yes, ma'am. All right. No other items. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Danley and Marcus. We will go on to the next committee, which we don't have any other titles, but other business. Is there any other business that come before the council tonight from the elected body? Yes, sir, Councilman Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to take a minute
Welcome.
to thank the citizens and residents of the community and staff and the Georgia Municipal Association and all of the above. I was able to receive a certificate this week in the mail, or actually it was in my box. I wasn't able to be there downtown for the Saturday and Sunday festivities for what I call the Mayor's Day. It's now called something else, but I received a certificate of, I believe it's distinction for a certain number of hours of continuing education, and also a certificate from Robert Knox Leadership Institute. And that's the closest thing I assume I'll ever receive to being connected to the University of Georgia, because it is sponsored by the University of Georgia. But I just wanted to thank everyone for the help in making it possible for me to do that as an elected official. Thank you all.
Also, Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like for Mr. Mark Adams to thank me for bringing, delivering his packages.
Mr. Davis, I probably owe you gas money,
Oh,
except for the
that
fact that you were paid by the city to go, because they are rather heavy. I took a picture with them today and sent them to my two daughters
Mr.
to let them see what I was able to do
He's doing
with the
too much.
GGA.
Mr. Davis, I would have loved to have seen a look on Councilman's face if that certificate, if somehow you could have changed the wording and it would have been like University of Alabama or something like that on there instead of University
Oh,
of
I shuffled it around in the back of the car. I
I'll
put
be
it in the
gone.
trunk.
I'll be gone,
Herding
Coach.
cats, it's herding cats. No. But we are very proud of our council members and our continued education and training. It really does help us to govern better. The more that we know, the better that we'll do for the city. And it's really evident that we're doing things in a more excellent way. We hear that all over the state. And so with having said that, Councilman Davis and I did bring the plaques back, and I have your pins. And so, Councilman Adams, you have Certificate of Excellence for 120 hours or more. And Councilmember Watts, you have a pin also for 42 hours or more, Certificate of Recognition. And it's only because you haven't been here as long as Councilman Adams. I'm sure you'll have 120 hours one day as well. So I will give you all these pins, and if we can give them a hand, please. Certificates are really nice, though. Okay, do we have any other business? Okay, well, I don't see any. We will go to updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Could you try again?
Staff attorney, is that Councilman Davis? Our staff attorney.
This is new laptop, Madam Mayor. I don't know how to cut it off yet.
Okay. Our staff attorney, Ms. Lynn Woodward.
No
Just
other
like
business.
turn it off.
Tech.
Ms. Lynn,
No other business.
thank you. Our police department, Major Davison.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Our city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton. We need technology to get Councilman Adams.
I think we're going to remove his new toy. I think that's what we're going to do. No, ma'am, just a couple things. Because of swift action tonight, we should not have any committee meetings on Monday either. So we will see you all at 6 p.m., which should be a very quick meeting. From your recent meeting, your council retreat, you should receive a draft report from me no later than Monday with 13 goals. Ms. Mara Shaw is with staff this week for our staff retreat, so we will have that information. I approved the draft today. And just to go back to one item, I want to make certain that everyone was clear what Ms. Woodward was articulating when she was mentioning the census tract. So even though there may be a split in neighborhoods, the reason why those neighborhoods cannot be combined is because they are a part of a census tract and on that border. So when citizens are approaching you all, just let them know we don't create census tracts. So that is something that we cannot divide. So that is the defined census tracts that we're working with.
So that census tract controls over and above our attempts to keep a neighborhood together.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, Marcia, census tract is they all roughly about the same size, a certain number of people.
I'm not certain how they're
It
determined.
is the smallest division, though, we can go down to in terms of population.
They're determined by population, so it's, all of them are oddly shaped, and also you can't reference it year to year. The census tracts that were used to draw the ward boundaries in 2010, 2011 are not going to be the same census tracts that we're using this time around. Also, the reason staff proposed to draw Ellis Street is that would be the least disruption to a subdivision, because if we were trying to also draw west of Ellis Street into the same ward, that would be including actually it would be including 2 other census tracts, just because the way Census Bureau drew the closest census tract is that inside it has a completely enveloped census tract that contains 92 persons. So if we were to try to keep the neighborhood around Ellis Street intact, that would mean we would have to draw an additional 476 people into Ward 2, and that would really throw the population balance off.
So essentially, we don't control census tracts. That's done by the census, so we work with what we're given. So when you all are asked those questions from citizens, just let them know that's what we're working with.
That was my thought. I was just curious. Like, I think that is basically the smallest division of population you can create as a census tract, which is sometimes just a few hundred people, and that's it.
That's right. Yes, sir. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Madam City Manager. Now we've come to the opportunity in the meeting to hear from our citizens. If there's someone in the audience and you'd like to speak to us, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us about any business that's germane to the City of Douglasville or potential business. No? Okay, well, if we don't have any other business, then this meeting is adjourned.